What's going on, guys? So welcome back to part 2 of the toggle build mechanic, and in this one we're going to be working in a little bit of C++, but the majority of it's going to be Blueprint, mainly just to finish up the UI. And on top of that, we're also just going to be creating some materials, but yeah, that's really just about it. And without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. Alright, so to first start off, we're going to be creating a new material, and this one's going to be for the progression bar, or I guess the progression circle in this case. But and just as a little side note, I'm going to be leaving a link in the description to a tutorial where I got this from, just because I don't know too much about materials, at least not as of yet. But and I'm not going to sit here and not act like I know what I'm talking about with these types of things. So yeah, if you do want more of an in-depth breakdown, I'd for sure check the link in the description, because it'll basically he'll explain it a lot better than what I can. But anyways, from there, I'm just going to be setting up the UI, basically the main look, like the look of it. And I'm also going to be importing 2 assets as well, which I will leave also in the link in the description. And just as a little another side note, I don't know like the licensing on them, so if you do plan on publishing a game with these, I would just say I don't know if they're for commercial or not or anything, so I'd for sure check the licenses on them. But anyways, I'm going to be setting up the materials as well for those icons. I'll probably only just set up or just show you the one, just because I don't want to drag out this video too much, but I'll just leave it in just for the people who want that stuff. But by all means, you know, you can skip it. There's nothing really too impressive stuff going on there. But and then after that, we're going to be jumping into the graph editor, and we're going to be working up on some code. So now we're going to be making 5 new variables in total, but we're just going to be getting to the 3, and then the other 2 we'll be getting to in a sec. But so the first one is going to be a integer, and it's going to be the build amount, which is pretty much self-explanatory. The other 2 are going to be floats, and the first float is going to be the time interval for the timer we're going to be setting up. And just a quick side note for this, you don't want the time interval to be too high. Me personally, I set mine to 0.05 because I found that was a good value. Because if you don't, if you set it too high, it'll like jitter around like the progression. It just won't be like a smooth motion. So just something to keep in mind. But the next one is going to be the decimal amount, and that's obviously just for the progression circle. And but anyways, moving on from there, we're going to be pulling off from the event construct, and we're going to be getting the dynamic material of the progression circle and storing that as a variable as well. And we're also going to be setting the decimal amount to 0, so so it looks as if there's nothing there on the screen yet. And then and I also set the color as well. I mean obviously you don't have to, but that's just what I did to make it somewhat, you know, more visually appealing, or somewhat, you know, at least for demonstration purposes. But anyways, from there we're going to be going into the class settings. We're going to be also implementing the interface, and we're going to be calling that onInteract function from there. And we're going to be pulling off and be running a if statement, or if check really, but to make sure it, so basically check to see if the key is held down or not, and if it is, then we're obviously going to be running that that timer. And we're also going to be storing the timer handle as well as a variable to clear the what's called the timer as well later on. So and then from there we're going to be, of course, looping that also as well. That's one thing I wanted to mention. I also show this later on in the tutorial, like for some of the things I missed, but just remember to check the looping option as well for the timer. So anyways, so moving on to the new custom event we're going to make. We're basically just going to be running the check to see if the decimal amount is less than the build amount, and obviously If it is, then that means that it's not built yet. So we're gonna add the time interval to the decimal amount. So we're gonna be adding that 0.05 there, and then we're going to be grabbing the material and we're going to be setting the decimal amount. I just decided to divide the decimal amount by the build amount so it doesn't go like too fast around. So yep. Then of course, then we're going back to the else statement from that if statement. Basically, if the decimal amount obviously of course is bigger than the build amount, then obviously that means it's built. So we want to clear the timer and we want to call the build complete function from the actor. And then obviously this next part's optional, but I just decided to change the color from the inside icon, that like hammer little icon, to green, just just make it a little more, I guess, visually appealing. But yeah, but also as well, after all that, I'm going to be setting up some or at least going to be showing you guys how I got that clear see-through material. It looks a lot better on meshes, like actual mesh, rather than just like the cube that I used. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. But so yeah, I just got that from the engine content. I'm just gonna put that up on the screen, or leave it up on the screen just for a little bit, so you can pause the video and copy it if you want, or just do the same thing that I did. So up to you, of course. But and then from there, I'm just gonna be showing like some, I guess, miscellaneous things that I kind of missed as well. But yeah, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so real quick, while I was editing this, there's just a couple things I missed. First off, in the else statement, in the it's called the tick function where we're running the line trace. Of course, obviously, if we're not looking at anything, and of course if the widget is not null, then we just want to run the interface call again and set that to false, just so the timer won't be running anymore. And then second thing, on the onInteract released, I accidentally left, when I copied it over, I accidentally left it as pressed here. You just want to obviously set that to release, just in case you were following me exactly. And then the last thing, on the in the toggle mode, well, it was originally switch mode, but I just renamed it. But anyways, we just want to make sure that the widget is not null, and if it's not, then we just want to run the interface call, and we want to obviously, of course, toggle or switch off the timer from running. We also want to set the render opacity of the widget to 0, and we also want to, of course, set the widget and the buildable to a null pointer. So that's just then that's it, and we should be basically set and done and ready to go. So guys, so that's just about a wrap for this tutorial. Hopefully you all did enjoy though, and can learn something from it, or at the very least, you got a brand new mechanic in your game, so that's that's something. But yeah, so as always though, if you have any questions or concerns at all, just please leave them in the comment section, or more preferably DM me on Twitter, since just Twitter's a lot more direct, and I'm pretty much always on Twitter anyways, so I'll for sure you'll for sure get a lot of a faster response from me. So. But regardless, though, even if you do leave a comment, I'll obviously still get to it. But yeah. So, anyways, though, if you do enjoy these types of videos and this type of content, then consider subscribing, and also as well, likewise as well, on my Twitter, I basically repost just game development stuff, and I'm for sure gonna start posting a lot more on just updates in general on videos and stuff. But anyways, though, but yeah, that's just about it for this video, guys. As always, you guys take care and stay safe.